It's Halloween week. We've got monsters and skulls, spooky spiders, and Hollywood actors who can't keep their fingers off the trigger during gun scenes. Today, I'm gonna burn your eyes with some cringeworthy gun clips from Hollywood. We'll meet a guest on range to make my personal guns less horrifying. And if you're not scared after that, just wait for the tip of the week. My name is Paige Rue, and this is Reloaded. I feel like I'm in elementary school again, can you tell? We'd have Halloween parties and dress up and eat treats and then decorate the classroom and watch scary movies throughout the day. I just feel like I'm in my element. So side note, I've always loved nails and makeup if you couldn't tell, but when I was younger, I would plan my Halloween costume out so that I purposely was able to get those like glue on cheap nails and wear all that thick makeup. So Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, but surprisingly, I'm actually not a fan of scary movies at all, and don't even get me started on zombies. But since I'm feeling festive, I thought we'd watch my version of scary movies, Hollywood scenes with horrific gunfights. I can't tell you how many movies I cannot watch because the actors and actresses keep their finger on the trigger. They seem to never know when they're running out of ammo, or they just have absolutely no awareness of where they're pointing the gun. It's a literal nightmare. So saddle up and grab your candy because things are gonna get spooky. So we're gonna start with the clip from The Walking Dead. It shows a bunch of walkers attacking a farm with an old guy defending a house with a shotgun like this. So check it out. Girl, stop yelling at Herschel. He's got like a cheat code on that shotgun with the unlimited ammo, so just let him do his thing. I haven't seen this show surprisingly, but if I was in this situation, there was literally no other gun that I would want. But this happens in quite a few movies. Like, I'm not sure why they never show characters reloading the gun. It's like when they're filming, they just decide, we don't need to show that part, it's no big deal. But this one wasn't cringeworthy like I promised. However, I was just warming you up for something like True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Now this one kind of gives me Die Hard vibes. It has some comedy and the action is meant to be a little bit out there, but this scene takes the cake. Who comes up with this? All right, so those were fun. Now let's get into some clips that really actually make me want to turn away while watching them.
FBI! Stop right there! Turn around. Turn around.
Oh, the classic Weaver stance. So if you notice, her elbow is dropped and then her other hand is like a little teacup. So it's kind of rare to see actors with actual correct grip, but as an instructor, it's like, yuck. This next clip though pisses me off. I know it's dark, but pay attention to the sound of the AR the guy is holding. This one's tough if you're not familiar with AR platforms, but what he's doing is just taking the safety off of the AR. However, the editors used a sound effect for releasing the entire bolt forward instead. So here, take a look at this. So the safety, this is what it sounds like. And instead, he was using a sound that sounds like. I get it sounds cooler, it just annoys me, like use the right sound. All right, what's next? Okay, honestly, I wasn't gonna show this because the whole movie is kind of out there. Like, there's literally a fight on top of a moving train. But I had a feeling you would ask about it, so let's just clear it up that no, you can't curve a bullet. But are you ready for the grand finale? Cue Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy. So this one has a lot, so I'm just gonna let it play and then try to count how many things that you see.
Good shot, Billy. Let's go. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, these guys are serious.
I hate machine guns.
Cover me. You guys go around front, I'm gonna check the back.
I feel like I could have only played this thing because it covers everything Hollywood does wrong with guns. We've got a guy flagging Eddie Murphy with a shotgun. Murphy then runs with his finger on the trigger. There's no shell casings coming out of that machine gun, but then like 3 just magically drop on the left side of the gun. Murphy crosses his thumbs behind the gun when he's firing back. Now, unlike The Walking Dead, he actually reloads the gun, so good on him, but then is ruined when he says, "Cover me," and then does a front flip with his finger on the trigger. And FYI, there's no way he wouldn't have pulled the trigger while doing a front flip with his finger on the trigger. And I'm not done. After that wild stunt, he shoots his gun with both index fingers, and then the clip ends with him flagging his partners with, you guessed it, his finger on the trigger. Cringe, cringe, cringe. Those are my versions of scary movies. Now hold on to your candy, because today's guest has a lot to teach, not just you, but me as well. Don't go anywhere. My name is Paige Rue, and this is Reloaded. Do you know what's more terrifying than those cheesy gunfight scenes? My guns. I never clean them. They're scary looking, but don't judge. I have an expert on range to help us learn how to clean them. So let's go. Welcome back. We're gonna be hanging out with Brian Wright, who is a certified gunsmith and owns Wright Armory in Mesa, Arizona. So let's call him to the range. Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
So nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. So I think I've made it very clear I don't clean my guns.
Well, I mean, it could be better.
I'm sorry. So, but you're gonna walk us through how to clean a pistol and an AR. I'm super excited about that, and I think my Springfield Hellcat is the dirtiest one, so we'll...
Yeah, that needs some love. Let's fix it up.
Yes, awesome. So real quick, I know when YouTubing or trying to figure out how to clean your guns, I always see the word field strip. So what does field strip mean?
Great question. So it comes from the military days when soldiers are out in the field. It's as far as they were allowed to actually strip the guns down to clean
Okay.
work on them in the field.
Right.
So it's not a full disassembly, but it's about as far as any gun owner should take their gun on their own unless they're really feeling adventurous.
And is that enough to clean? Just if you're going to the range or practicing and training, that's really all you need to do.
Yeah.
And are we going to be field stripping pistols and ARs today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So let's start with pistols.
Let's do it.
First step that I know is definitely make sure that the gun is empty, completely unloaded. Walk me through how to take apart, because different manufacturers, they come apart differently.
Yep.
So for Glock, how do you take this puppy apart?
So you've made sure it's clear. Always make sure it's unloaded. Always, always, always triple check it. It's only a couple seconds. Trip to the ER is expensive. It takes a long time. These are your takedown levers. Push that down. You're gonna have to pull the trigger. That's why you wanna make sure it's unloaded, and then it's gonna come off. So push her on down, let it come forward, pull your trigger, off it comes.
Walk them through. I want to try that. Perfect.
There you go.
All right. How do you do the Hellcat?
Pretty similar. It doesn't have the double drop down on one side. You're gonna lock the slide back. It's got a little cutout here. Flip this little guy up. Sometimes they're pretty stiff. About flush. Off it comes.
All right, so we've got two pieces. We've got our frame and our slide. Now what?
Pull out the spring, which is your recoil assembly. Pull out your barrel. It'll just kind of lift up and pull out. There you go.
Okay. What is the essentials to clean this gun?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a lot of really cool cleaning kits. In a real pinch, you could probably use like a toothbrush and some solvent and a little bit of oil, but we've got gunsmithing toothbrushes that have big end, small end,
Okay.
some Q-tips, some sort of cleaning solvent. We've got the M Pro 7 here. That should work just fine. Let's see here.
And I'm gonna spray. So what made you want to be a gunsmith?
It's dirty. I actually used to be a mechanic, and I was always one of those kids that took everything apart. I used to get grounded for taking my Christmas presents apart because they didn't always go back together when I was younger. They do now, but
Okay.
so get your little spritz, just kind of scrub on it. And
Use the little cipher in here.
yeah, exactly. And then you want to make sure that you get under your extractor real good.
What do we need to do for the barrel?
It's always a good idea to have like a bronze brush
Okay.
and run it through just to make sure that if there's any fouling or parts of the jacket that are left over, you get it out. But same kind of thing like the slide. You're gonna put a little bit of cleaning solvent in there, run your brush through. We've got one of these little nylon guys, and we're basically just gonna scrub it pretty good, and then we'll run a couple patches through it. If the patches come out clean, we're done. Once you've got your slide cleaned up, we don't want to forget about your frame, right? So we've got this clean. And same kind of thing, just make sure it's all clean in here. And when we go back together, same spots that we're cleaning off, we're just gonna add a little bit of lube to it. You can try the spray on if you want to, but basically just put it right on the rails.
Let's put them back together, and then I want to know if you have like a horrifying experience with a customer's gun. What's the most horrifying one?
One of the luckiest ones we've ever seen. There was a kid, probably 19, 20 years old, worked for one of the bigger armed guard security companies, and he went through their training, if you could even call it that.
Yeah.
And this guy brought the gun to us. He's like, yeah, it's not working. I'm not hitting paper anymore. It's got a really hard recoil. And we looked at it. He had done it not once, not twice, 16 rounds when we got in there. We had to replace the barrel. Luckily, the frame was all right. We machined kind of like a cutaway of the barrel just to see it. And there were 16 slugs stacked end to barrel.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
and
just scares me.
What we
I don't
figured
like
out
that.
happened, he shot 3 cylinders through it. The last 2 rounds popped out.
Ugh.
So if you're shooting and you don't see it hit the paper, you're probably better than you think you are. Stop and check the gun.
Yikes.
He's lucky he didn't die.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to a rifle, because that's one I have a lot of questions about.
Let's do it.
Remember, we don't have time to go through all of it and go through an in-depth cleaning. However, just look online for an in-depth way to clean your firearms step by step, or go check out Brian with Right Armory. So next we are going to clean a rifle. Walk us through this real quick.
Since you have nails, you're going to use a Sharpie. It's going to make it easier to separate the upper and the lower.
I don't need
That way it
these.
keeps your nails from getting beat up.
Can't use my nails?
You could, but that seems like a really expensive way to do that, and
Yeah,
it
we
might
don't
hurt
wanna
a
do
little bit.
So just punch right here?
Yep, so you can take the Sharpie and just push on down on that until it clicks. Same on the back one. So now, this is an empty gun. We've cleared it, but always when you're cleaning a gun, make sure that it is cleared. So go ahead and pull these pins the rest of the way.
So these guys right here.
Yep, that's that one. And then you'll separate this guy.
Oh!
So now you have your upper and your lower.
Oh, that's fast.
And so
Boom.
as far as a field strip cleaning on a lower, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you just want to make sure it's clean. There's no debris in here. If you see debris or things like that building up, one of these little brushes is a great way to get in here. Clean it out, make sure you don't have any. You just want to make sure that there's not like unburnt powder or dirt.
And then will
Q-tips work great too, yeah.
Okay.
And then when you get to the upper, this is your charging handle. Pull this back. Your bolt carrier group is going to slide out. This has a little cutout in your upper. Pull it back, drop down, comes out.
Okay.
When you get to here, these are usually the dirtiest component, this and the chamber. Make
So
sure it's
kind of
good.
same thing as handguns. Is it just these 4 again?
Yep, these are going to be about as far as you're going to take it. And just kind of clean it up. If it seems dirty, like you can see there's some carbon buildup and stuff like that, go ahead and just clean it off.
Brush it. Do you need more oil for rifles versus handguns?
Not really, it's about
Okay.
the same. One quick check that you can do is on your gas rings if you have an impingement gun rather than a piston gun, is pull your bolt head all the way forward after you're done cleaning it, set it down, and see if it stays. It'd be helpful if we did it on something like a mat. but it should be able to support its own weight. If you see it slide down like that, your gas rings are shot out and they need to be replaced.
Okay.
If you feel up to it, you can find a tutorial online and do it yourself. You take it to a gunsmith, they usually do it while you wait.
I just take it to a gunsmith. I won't break it.
Easy peasy.
Okay. Barrel.
As far as cleaning the barreled upper, down in here, it gets real dirty. So when you're picking out a cleaning kit, you want to make sure if you're going to be cleaning your rifle that they have a chamber brush. It goes into the cutout for this, and you can spin it and scrub all that nasty
To
carbon
kind of
out.
clean out all this.
Exactly.
on
So
that
that's got a
side.
nice clean place to go live.
Okay, cool. So what are we looking for in like a cleaning kit? Because there's a ton of cleaning kits out there. I feel
Lots
like.
of cleaning kits.
And there's like this one is I think $10. This one's 25, and then this one's 65. So what are you looking for so that you don't buy a cleaning kit and then you're like, oh crap, I don't have everything that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. A lot of it comes down to personal preference. You can talk to 5 different gunsmiths and they'll probably use 5 different products or brands or tools. But at the end of the day, what you need is a cleaning rod that you can run down the barrel to get it clean, run it with some patches. You can use a bore snake, those work all right too. You're gonna need some sort of lube and you're gonna need some sort of cleaning solvent. Sometimes it's like this where it's a CLP, where it's a cleaner and lubricant protector all in one.
Okay.
Sometimes they're separated like this kit or like this kit. And make sure you get something that's caliber specific. Sometimes you'll get the universal ones and they'll have these huge patches. You have to cut them down and it takes forever.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I feel a little bit more comfortable with just being able to take apart the gun. I thought it was way more in depth for rifles and it's actually a lot easier than I thought. All right, so stick around because Brian is gonna take over the tip of the week, and trust me, this is gonna up your gun game. So stay tuned. I'm Paige Rue, this is Brian, and this is Reloaded. Welcome to the tip of the week where I give you the ammo to become better shooters and responsible gun owners. Whether you've been shooting your whole life or just getting ready to fire your first gun, these tips are for you. So this week's tip, I am going to be getting some help, and it's household items that can be used as gunsmithing tools in a pinch. So you are gonna help us out with that, right, Brian?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Walk us through some things that we could use as gunsmithing tools at home.
Okay, but a good one if you're working on ARs, sometimes they have really stiff pivot pins or takedown pins, depending on who you're talking to, they'll call them different things. And rather than taking a punch or a hammer and hitting it, Sharpies work really, really well. The back end of it's solid plastic. You can push down on it, so you hear a nice little click. They pop out, and it makes it really easy, especially if you have long nails.
I was gonna say, I feel like all I would do is try to pop it out
Yep.
with my nails.
And it'll save you from chipping or breaking or snapping your nails off. So that works really great. I keep it in my pocket all the time. Works good for writing on anything too. And if you're at the range, you can mark your targets with it.
Okay, that's easy.
Nail polish is a cool one. Most of you ladies have that. Guys, if you don't have a lady, you're gonna have to probably go buy some, but it works really good with optics. So if you've got an optic on your pistol, the biggest thing that you wanna make sure of is that your zero is always good. And so if your screws come loose, your zero's out the window.
Right.
So you can take a little bit of nail polish and just make a line across the screw head and somewhere right on the optic where it lines up on both screws, and it serves as a witness mark. And if the lines all of a sudden don't line up anymore, you know your screws are coming
And
loose.
that's just like if you're shooting or maybe you don't have enough Loctite on it, something like that, they're
Exactly.
coming loose. That optic's gonna come loose, and then everything that you worked on to zero that gun is now off, especially if it's your home defense gun or personal defense gun, that's gonna suck.
Let's say you've got a stubborn pin in the gun and you need to get it out and you're trying to tap on it with a hammer and a punch, but
It's not working.
You've got it backed on the table, you got nowhere for the pin to go. So you can use a hockey puck, or if you don't have a hockey puck, a roll of tape will work really good too. Whether it's duct tape, electrical tape, doesn't really matter. You just take the gun,
And
center
then you
the
just
pin
set
over
the
it.
gun
Yep.
on top, right?
Yeah, so if we're gonna take that pin out right there, we'd set it down.
And that way you can
Exactly.
just.
You don't have to worry about messing up your table, scratching your gun, or the pin going into your table. So
And if
works
you
out pretty
don't
good.
know how to do this, you recommend you're probably
Don't.
going
If you
a
don't
little.
know how to do it, don't do it.
Brian is not telling you to go do this and destroy your guns. It's just an option.
If you're comfortable doing it, you know what you're doing, go for it. If not, you may have to come see me and it may not be a fun event.
Experience.
Yeah.
Okay, last one we have Q-tips.
Yeah, so Q-tips are really cool for optics, whether it's this patrol style optic or an optic on your red dot. The biggest thing for most shooters, and probably happens to you all the time,
Yeah.
fingerprints, thumbprints, lint.
Just that window to
right
look
on the
through.
window, yep. And clean it off with your shirt, I guess would work in a pinch, but Probably not the
You
greatest.
can't get the corners either when you're trying to clean that.
So just a simple Q-tip and some Windex. Almost everybody has Windex. Get a little squirt on there. And it's small enough that you can get down into your corners. Because of the ammonia and the Windex, it'll leave you a nice streak-free window. So all your shots are where they're supposed to be.
Super fun. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the tip, Brian.
Absolutely.
So just a couple things that you can use at home in a pinch for just some gunsmithing and working on your firearms. And that's your tip of the week. Take Brian's advice on this one and clean your guns. And if you don't know how to do something, just let a certified gunsmith take care of it. Now remember, Brian Wright Armory is in Arizona, so if you're out of state, he can still take in your guns. You can send them in so that he can work on them. Just go to Wright Armory, that's WRIGHT, armory.com, fill out the form, and then send the gun to Brian so that he can work on it. And the next time you watch a movie with an action scene, try not to get wrapped up in Hollywood's horrifying firearm training. Don't miss next week because we are going all things rifle. How to get the right one for you and what freaking accessories do you put on it. Then we'll hit the range where I'll be getting some rifle basics and fundamentals with one of our Shooters World instructors. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video so that I can talk 2A with you every week. My name is Paige Rue, and your firearm freedom just got reloaded.